You ready to see Charlie Kirk completely smash a race-baiting leftist with facts and logic? I know I want to see it. We'll get right to that, but first, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the Resist the Mainstream YouTube channel. My name is Darian, and I'm your host for today. Well, let's just get to it.
I want to try to de-Balkanize America, right? I think
Sure.
I think these kind of the creation.
Unless it's the Boy Scouts.
Well, but that's gender. Gender differences are.
Okay, let's first address this real quick. So Charlie says he wants to de-Balkanize America, right? The context is he's saying, let's not segregate people by race. Seems pretty straightforward to me. And immediately this leftist lady jumps to, oh yeah, but not about the Boy Scouts. You want to segregate that. You know, in some kind of weird, half-baked attempt to, I guess, show hypocrisy. Here's the thing. Segregating people, as you'll see in a moment, they're going to talk about segregated dorms here. Segregating people by, race or ethnicity in a dorm, which they'll talk about in a moment here, or whatever other context, is not the same as segregating gender. All right? And going back to that Boy Scout example, having boys go out so they can go to a camping and, act like boys, without mixing genders together, and the same goes for Girls and Girl Scouts. If they want to do that, they're more than welcome to. It is just not even remotely comparable to not segregating race. So very, in my opinion, disingenuous argument. Anyways, let's keep going here.
Completely important for formative reasons, sociological reasons.
Do you think that it's wrong to have international houses at these universities?
I don't love it. I'll be very honest. I don't.
Okay, well then that's consistent, and that's fine.
I think that if you come to America, I want you to try to participate in our attempt to be a multiracial republic, right? In the attempt. Like, I don't love the idea of hyphen America. I don't like this idea of Chinese American, Iranian American, African American. I want to try, albeit clumsy, to strive towards the idea that I'm an American. Like, I don't.
So let's talk about this real quick. This is a great point that Charlie makes, I think, about how he doesn't want to be a hyphen American, whether it's Iranian American, Chinese American, African American, whatever it might be. And it's true. We're really not unified as a country nowadays. I think people can see that and feel it at a deep level, even if they won't consciously admit it out loud. Here's a little, think about this. You're looking at social media profiles, right? Let's say Instagram bios. How many Instagram bios do you see, especially among young Americans, where they will fly any flag but the American flag with the emoji, right? So what I mean, you'll look at it. Someone might have a Mexican flag in their bio. They might have a Peruvian flag. They might have a Chinese flag, Japanese flag, Korean, whatever. It doesn't matter what the flag is. The point is that it's anything but the American flag. It's a little interesting, right? These are American kids or American young adults, for the most part, who most of them have been born in America. They've grown up in America. They have American friends for the most part. Probably not many, whatever other country they're claiming to be from, friends there. Maybe they have some, but more American friends, I would bet you. So, they watch American movies. They consume American TV. They relate with American culture more than anything. Yet they're flying the flag with an emoji of another country. Makes you think, doesn't it? I don't know. I just find that a little strange myself. Let's keep going.
So I hear that, Charlie. And if I could just say this, I think this is such a crucial point. And I've had this conversation with Glenn Lowry and Andrew Sullivan, and this always comes up. Part of, I think, why some Black people and other non-white people bristle a little bit at this idea that, people like yourselves really want individuality and the ability to be your own person and not to be subsumed in stereotypes or groups or tribalism, is that the whole story, the whole narrative of advocating for yourself on the basis of your identity historically has been because, by law, you weren't allowed to be an individual. By the Constitution, you were 3/5 of a person. By Jim Crow laws, you couldn't ride the same train.
All right, sorry, I got to pause it again. Let's talk about this ridiculous talking point that this leftist lady just made here about, well, according to the Constitution, you were 3/5 of a person, and therefore racism in America. This is it's just such a profound ignorance and lack of historical context. So let's just do a quick little lesson here for the 3/5 compromise. So the 3/5 compromise was something that emerged during the Constitutional Convention of 1787, right? This is when the founding fathers were convening in order to determine what the supreme document, in this case being the Constitution, right, would the supreme document and law of the land would be. Okay, and what the Three-Fifths Compromise was it, what it did was it gave, in terms of representation for southern states, aka the states where slavery was legal and the states where slaves were owned and used, they could only, for every 5 black people they tried to count for purposes of legislative representation and taxation, okay, only 3 of them would be counted. So what this means is the Three-Fifths Compromise actually hurt the South, which was what had slavery. It hurt them, okay? They wanted to count all the slaves for the purposes of representation, while the slaves had 0 political power practically whatsoever. Okay, so when this lady here is sitting here saying, well, the Constitution said 3/5 of black people or 3/5 of a person is such a racist. I mean, first of all, this was hundreds of years ago, but that aside, the Three-Fifths Compromise was actually didn't help the South. It was not to their benefit, to the benefit of the southern states. So just wanted to clear the air real quick. Also, a quick fun little tidbit. Many of the founding fathers, a significant portion of them, were against slavery. People don't talk about this because they just want to push the narrative of, oh, the founding fathers, evil old white men, they own slaves, whatever. Many of them were against it. Thomas Jefferson was famously against slavery, and he tried to even feature that within the founding documents and unfortunately got shot down. But, I mean, look what it led to. Eventually it was abolished, and that was the goal of many founding fathers who helped establish this nation in the first place. So, another quick fun little history bit I want to add. Did you know that the first legally recognized slave owner in the U.S. was, drumroll please, a black man? Yes. Not even kidding. They want to make this narrative, oh, it's the evil racist white people. Oh, like this lady says, the minorities, oh, us minorities, we're so oppressed. The first legally recognized slave owner was a black man. Look him up. His name was Anthony Jackson. All right, let's keep going.
As whites or drink at the same water fountains. By redlining, we're allowed by law to live in the same neighborhoods as whites, or you at least weren't going to be granted a loan to be able to live in the same neighborhoods as whites. And many of those white neighborhoods had restrictive covenants in the lease that explicitly precluded black people from living in those neighborhoods. And people wanted to be individuals. People wanted to be able to live where they wanted to live, go to school where they wanted to live, go to the hospital they wanted to go to, marry who they wanted to marry. And the literal laws of the United States of America said, no, you cannot do that. And so people started to advocate, okay, I'm black and I don't have access to this privilege. I'm Asian and I don't have access to this. I'm Latino, I'm Chicano. And we had all of these movements to get people to be able to be individuals. So people bristle a little, I think, at this idea that the existence of advocacy along identity lines is to be balkanized. It's quite the opposite. It's to push back against the feeling, whether or not you agree that it persists, to push back against what people perceive to be barriers to them living their life fully as individuals.
9 out of 13 states had abolished slavery by the Constitution. Northwest Ordinance had all new territories were free.
And what do you take from that? That America wasn't racist?
Not only that, we were the first country to abolish slavery, not just continue the practice of it. I mean, every other nation had slavery, including today. There's more slaves today than there were back then. Unfortunately, slavery is the norm, abolition is the exception, and America led the way.
Charlie, you have to understand. You're.
So, as Charlie just correctly said, he said slavery is the norm, abolition is the exception. This is completely true, okay? Slavery is still practiced in much of the world. By the way, in many cases, it's practiced in Africa. And I mention that because many of the slaves in the United States, well, where do you think they came from? Many of them, not all of them, but many of them came from Africa, and they were sold by African slave owners, many of whom were obviously black. Of course, there's no hemming and hawing about them and how terrible they were, nor are you going to see this leftist academic lady here even address what was done to slaves in Africa, even still today, by the way. So she's going to sit here and have, complain about it's white people, minorities, etc. The same standard is never held elsewhere. Are you going to see her go and criticize an African country for practicing slavery? I doubt it. So yeah, let's keep going.
You're not an unintelligent person. You know that that's a logical fallacy.
Why?
If you and I both have kids, and we both start beating our kids at the same time, and we're ruthless, abusive parents, and you stop a year before I stop, that doesn't make us not ruthless, abusive parents.
Wait, what is the point of your argument?
Just because one state stopped before another state. Just because America stopped before some other country doesn't mean that the initial act of harm, the initial tort, doesn't still stand. That's still a problem.
So where in the Federalist Papers does it justify slavery?
Why does it matter
Well,
that whether or not? No,
that's
Charlie,
the framework of our country.
No.
Look at her face. Anyways, why does it matter? Why does it matter that our founding documents weren't explicitly, the Federalist Papers weren't explicitly mentioning slavery? I mean, it's just, they have this whole argument. Oh, this country was founded on slavery. It's so terrible, evil, racist place. And then a question like that, it's like, it doesn't matter. Okay. Let's keep going. It's almost done.
That question is completely untethered from anything that we're talking about.
We're talking about the framework
Charlie,
of America.
No, we're not.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's that. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope the crazy leftist race baiting takes didn't rot your brain too much. But we did have Charlie Kirk there to provide some facts and logic for the ladies, so we're very grateful for that. So thank you guys for tuning in, and see you next time.